Welcome to the Locks and Dogs NFL Picks Podcast, Conference Championship Edition. We've got a few locks and a few dogs that you need to hear, and the podcast starts right now. Welcome back. This is Matthew.
This is Mark.
Locks and Dogs heading into the Conference Championship. Mark, we're down to 3 NFL games left on the schedule. How do you feel about that?
You know, it's been a long road. You know how I feel about it. I guess I'm looking forward to preseason already.
I'm looking forward to UFL season. I was already like breaking down rosters, like try to work out depth charts. You know, see if any of our old friends are returning. I'm looking forward to UFL already. However, we've got to do a quick recap of the divisional round. Do the postmortem here. For those keeping score at home, I covered 3 out of the 4 games last week. Mark, how'd you do?
Well, it's true. You are the king of the divisional round.
I know, yes.
Unfortunately for you, though, it was not a clean sweep.
I mean, nobody's perfect, Mark.
But I do congratulate you on your big divisional round win.
Thank you. Let's see what we had here. Okay, Ravens 34, Texans 10. I had the Ravens laying the points. You took the Texans. You got too cute with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the game was tied at halftime. I thought there was a chance.
Honestly, okay, this game and the Lions-Buccaneers game followed essentially the same game script. It really did. Mm-hmm. Where you had, like the Ravens and the Lions like scoring body blows for like the first half of the game, and then they moved on to knockout punches in the later rounds, and it was just over. So that's essentially what happened. Avalanche of points in the second half. Texans put up 0, got drilled. Future super bright for the Texans. C.J. Stroud. I mean, this isn't the last we've seen of C.J. Stroud in the playoffs. Not for a long shot. So.
Yeah.
Next up, 49ers 24, Packers 21. I had almost instant regret for taking the 49ers. I mean, they were up 7-6 at halftime, but you could kind of tell they weren't gonna. I almost live bet it just because I was like, they're not gonna cover the 9.5, are they? Just too many points. You were on the Packers. Good job. Good win by you.
Thank you.
Good win by you. Yeah, be proud of that one. Again, I feel like, I was on the right side. The 49ers got the win. The Packers, they were a lot more physical than I was expecting, especially on the defensive side. They kind of crumbled towards the end. It's a super young team, and I'm kind of wasn't surprised that they didn't. They weren't able to pull out the win on the road, but they did keep it close and they did cover the spread, most importantly. So, good teams win. Great teams cover. Simple as that. Sunday games, Lions 31, Buccaneers 23. Lions, this one, I think we had closed at like 6 or 6.5. Yeah, so we just got the cover. Buccaneers dressed this one up a little bit. They got the late touchdown. Again, almost virtually identical script to the Ravens-Texans game, again with the body blows for the first couple rounds and then knockout punches in the second half. We did get a couple Baker interceptions. Baker did throw for the most yards out of all the quarterbacks this weekend. So, and that was at +6. I think most passing yards on Baker for the weekend was +600. Do you think we see Baker again in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I think they're going to sign him to a long-term deal.
Maybe 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a couple more seasons in Tampa. I mean, he proved he could win the division.
Right. Well, it is the weakest division in the NFC.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, he'll be back. Whether or not he makes it back to the playoffs.
But still, that team, from a salary cap standpoint, I think they had a ton of dead money this year. They had like 60, 70 million in dead money, and so they're essentially operating with like an arm tied behind their back this year.
A lot of that went to Tom Brady.
I think, Tom Brady among others. Yeah,
they will be losing Mike Evans next year more than likely.
Probably. Well, I think he's in his age 31 season, so I don't think that how much meat is there still in that bone. Had a great season, quality player. I'd be curious to see what he looks like, in the next year or two. Yeah. So either way. Oh yeah. Last up, Chiefs 27, Bills 24. The dream crusher. Yeah, I was on the Chiefs. Had the money line, had the points, had all of it. Again, I didn't trust that Bills defense, and the Chiefs were kind of able to take what they wanted from them. And then it came down to they're going to blame the missed field goal, but there were a lot of opportunities leading up to that they could have the Bills could have taking advantage. The Chiefs, they did let the Bills. I felt they did let the Bills hang around a bit. With some of the fumbles. The bizarre that goal line play with Mecole Hardman. I'm sorry, that made no sense. You've got how many different guys can you give the ball to, and that's the guy the guy who fumbled in the previous spot in the previous quarter. You're gonna let him do it again. So that was infuriating. However, again, the Chiefs were the better team. Simple. I mean, again, that Bills defense has been suspect all year.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Chiefs made fewer mistakes, and they made plays when they had to, and the Bills just couldn't make the plays that they need to make when they need to make them. So whether that's a field goal or a long bomb to Stephon Diggs, they couldn't make those plays when they needed to make them.
That's another guy that I think he might be changing addresses sooner than later.
Yeah,
Diggsy. Yeah, he's just not the same guy. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's got like a hidden injury where he's kind of banged up and he's not, and he's suiting up every weekend trying to go out there, but he's not been the same guy this year at all. And they really miss Gabe Davis. You got Shakir, who on like a good team would probably be like a third or fourth guy. He's like their number. I'll say they're 1A. With Diggs not quite as productive. So yeah. So honestly, Mark, if I felt like you got too cute this weekend. How do you feel with that assessment?
What, that I got too cute?
Yeah.
Baker
on the road, C.J. Stroud on the road.
Look, gamblers are going to gamble. That's just how this is done.
Whoa! I think the Baker play was too cute.
You're going to
defend the pick lost.
You know what? There's another dimension where the pick won. So.
Oh yeah, but in this dimension, where I'm the king of the divisional playoff round. The pick lost. It was too cute. It was the wrong side, partner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't picking them to win. I was picking them to cover.
You see, that's again. I think for the playoffs, that's a mistake. I only took a dog that I thought could win.
Yeah. And
it won.
Some of the point totals, like the 9.5 point totals.
The 9.5. Okay, that one you were balls accurate on. You're 100% correct.
I felt that was a bit of Vegas being too reactionary to the blowouts in Super Wildcard Weekend, but then again, only one of them hit. So, the Chiefs Bills, that was a pretty close game.
I think they didn't give the Packers enough respect, if I'm honest. Like they came up a lot more physical than I was expecting. Jordan Love's going to take flack for the interception at the end. Mm-hmm. If anything, he kept them in that game, if I'm honest. So I don't.
Look. Let's put it this way: if you thought last week's picks were cute, wait until we get to.
You're way too cute. I've seen the sheet. I know how cutesy we're about to get, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Okay. That being said, you ready to dive into the championship round?
I'm ready.
Okay. So first on the list, got Chiefs at Ravens. Ravens minus 3.5 is the line. Over under at 44.5. I kind of like that under. Early numbers coming in on this one, 52% of the bets on the spread coming in on the Ravens, 71% of the bets coming in the over, and 71% of the money line bets on the Ravens, locking up that sweet minus 198 action. So you faded the Chiefs last weekend. What are you doing this weekend?
Going with the Chiefs plus 3.5.
Okay. What's the calculus here?
Well, Patrick Mahomes has shown that he can win a playoff game on the road, so that's that debate has been settled. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I'm really expecting this is going to be a really good game. These are two really good teams.
Heavyweight matchup, big time.
I don't think weather. I mean, I don't have a weather report in front of me, but I don't expect weather to be as much of a factor as it was, in the previous 2 weeks.
I don't think it would. I mean, I guess the Dolphins game with -4, that's going to impact everybody. But I didn't see. I mean, aside from the snowballs being thrown by the soft Buffalo Bill fans, I really didn't see much in terms of the weather having an impact last week.
Yeah. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, they've had a really good defense all year. Again, like we said, Patrick Mahomes has made plays when he needed to make plays. Mm-hmm. I think you could really toss a coin and you'd be fine either way with this one. The Ravens are a really good team. They have a great defense. Their running game is good. Lamar has been making plays. He's running up and down the field. So that being said, I just expect it to be a really entertaining, good game, probably the best game of the weekend. And I like the Chiefs to pull this one through and go to the Super Bowl.
Okay. So Chiefs running out or just sprinkle the money line is what I'm hearing.
I'll sprinkle the money.
I took the money line last week with the Chiefs. I'm not hating on it.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of nuggets here. First off, there's been some controversy in the referee assignments for this one. Mm-hmm. Sean Smith has been named as the head referee, and he's been apparently he shows a bias against home teams. He's been known to call penalties on the home team more often than the road team. So there's some concern on the betting public that this is going to have an impact on the outcome. I don't care if I'm on. I've looked at it. I'm like, okay, it's you'll be aware of it, factored into your calculus, but it's not. I wouldn't make it the referee a deciding factor for this one. What concerns me most about the Chiefs? One, this is on the road, it's a super hostile environment, probably as hostile as Buffalo. Okay, they proved they could win in Buffalo, so again, they should be able to manage in Baltimore. But still, I don't like the back-to-back road spot for the Chiefs. That's one. And two, I think this is the week of the playoffs where the Chiefs' lack of playmakers really shows up. Pacheco was fantastic last week. He kept them in that game with with the way he ran.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a few good runs in there too.
Pacheco was fantastic.
Your guy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Is he my guy?
He was in fantasy for a little while.
Yeah, for his first season, and then everybody kind of forgot about him. Like, oh, he's kind of a bum. Right? I see him being able to have success against that Buffalo Bills defense because their underbelly is a bit soft. That's not going to be the case with Baltimore. That defense is not soft. He's going to be getting hit as hard as he was hitting guys in Buffalo. I mean, he runs super hard. I don't see it having near the same level of success against the Baltimore defense because they're coming to hit. Whereas he was the one initiating the contact with Buffalo. I don't think it's going to be as much as the case this weekend. I think it's going to be a bit more physicality from the Ravens defense. And I'm really worried about the lack of playmakers on that Kansas City offense. I think they're going to be able to go downfield as much as it is. Like with Travis Kelce, there was that one 30-yard touchdown he had. I don't see that being there against the Ravens. I think they're a bit faster. I think they're a bit meaner. And if I'm honest, I kind of see the Chiefs being a bit slow, especially on the outside and the inside. But either way, I just the lack of playmakers is really concerning. I don't think Rashee Rice is enough to get it done at the wide receiver spot. I don't trust Justin Watson and the other guys. I mean, come on. Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That's like Three Stooges level stuff from that. This is essentially who they are, the Three Stooges. They're falling all over themselves. They're dropping balls. They don't, fumbling. I'm not a fan of this receiving core. These guys got to go. And I think Travis Kelce's going to get a little bit exposed. He's looked slow for most of the season. He looked okay against Buffalo.
Yeah, he did.
But I don't see him repeating his success against the Ravens. And on the the Ravens offense versus the Chiefs defense, I think the Ravens can do enough. I think they'll have similar success to what the Bills were able to do. And the Bills, they didn't. I'm not going to say they exposed the Chiefs defense, but they did keep it within a field goal. They were able to put up points. So and they were able to move the ball pretty. I mean, the reason it was 24, I think, was because there were some mistakes on the Bills side. I don't see the Ravens repeating those mistakes. So that being said, I think the Ravens are the better team. I think the Chiefs are probably primed to get exposed a little bit here. And I also think we could see a crazy Lamar game. We just came off a crazy Lamar game, believe it or not. Didn't feel like it. But at the end of the game, he's got 10 carries, 100 yards.
Yeah, he really didn't get going until the second half.
Yeah, that's true. But still, either way, and I kind of like him to get loose again this weekend. I think that speed is going to be a problem for the Chiefs defense. So give me the Ravens minus 3.5. I don't know what their tagline is. I don't think it's Fly Ravens Fly. I think it's Fly Eagles Fly. It's not Fly Ravens Fly, is it?
I don't know.
It's something with the flock. I remember they had a flock catchphrase.
Yeah.
Quote the Ravens.
There you go.
So on the prop side of this one, I've got a couple I've already bet. First off, you want to start with the touchdowns?
Yeah, we can start with touchdowns.
Okay.
So I have a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, probably the most obvious one.
Really? I disagree completely. I think he's going to get shut out, but okay.
Really? Okay.
I'm not a fan.
At plus 125. And then I have an Odell Beckham Jr. touchdown anytime at plus 255.
Did he get one last week?
I don't think so, no.
I think he did.
No. But, big time players make big plays in big games. So I'd like to see Odell make a touchdown catch here.
I've got Lamar Jackson at plus 110, and I've got Isaiah Likely at plus 320. Now, Mark Andrews is going to play in this game, But the way they've been using Likely for some of the jump balls, especially down in the red zone, I love that matchup for him. He's just longer and leaner than everybody else. Than everybody else. He's a bad matchup for just about every defense, especially in that red zone. And Lamar's been looking for him recently too. I think he had. Did he have 2 last week?
I don't remember.
Just the one. I can tell you in a second. He had 1 last week. I think he's had weekends where he's had multiple touchdowns. He got the 1 last week. I like him as a red zone target. I think they look his way, and I don't see why not. It's plus 320. I know he's gonna be sharing snaps with Mark Andrews, but who knows how much Mark Andrews is really gonna play in his first week back.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. I've already bet this. I love that the plus 320. You could even talk me into 2 Isaiah Likely touchdowns, or maybe a first Isaiah Likely touchdown.
Maybe.
Yeah. So either way, so those are the 2 that I like. Again, I'm riding Lamar on this one. My favorite prop for this one is Lamar over 64.5 rushing yards. Again, it's the conference championship. He's going to let it all hang out. He's not going to, they're going to let him run if he needs to. And I definitely can see him getting loose against the Chiefs. That's a bad matchup for them. We saw him go over 100 last week against the Texans. I see him doing similar. In fact, you could even talk me into a ladder with him on the rushing yards. I'll tell you what let me pull up, get the numbers up here. I'll be able to tell you what the ladder on Lamar rushing yards looks like. Now, 64.5 is minus 110. Okay, so 64.5 rushing yards for Lamar is minus 110. If you get to 72, plus 135. 81, plus 210. 100.5 rushing yards, plus 500. Ladder. I'm going to bet all of those. Ladder it up. So that's probably my favorite play for this game. The angle that I kind of like the most for the Ravens winning. I also like Justice Hill to go over 33.5 rushing yards in this one. I kind of feel like he's taken over that top running back spot from the Gus Bus. They gave him quite a few. He picked up quite a few carries last week. He got 13 carries to the Gus Bus's 10. Dalvin Cook's also there as a carry vulture. He racked up 8, but most of that was in garbage time, like at the very end. Like I'm pretty sure the Gus Bus got hurt and Justice Hill needed a rest, and they just started feeding Dalvin. I don't expect him to vulture very many. He's kind of like the extra. He's kind of like the backup bus. The
short bus.
The short. Oh no, poor Dalvin. He doesn't deserve that.
No.
But either way, I like Justice Hill to get the majority of the carries. I love him going over 33.5. I think he's kind of usurped that. I think it's like a 1A, 1B situation with Hill and Edwards, and I kind of think Hill is going to get the majority of the carries moving forward. I think they like it. He's a bit more dynamic in how he runs and slashes. Where if you need 2 yards, the Gus Bus will get you 3. With Justice Hill, I kind of feel like again, if it's 1st and 10 and you want to get 6, that's the guy you go with. You don't go with the Gus Bus. So I had one other prop. My Travis Kelce fade. Travis Kelce under 61.5 receiving yards. I just don't think he's going to be able to find soft spots against the Ravens defense, and I don't think he's going to be able to get down the field. He's not going to be able to outrun whoever he's matched up with. I don't see him being able to outrun him or get as loose as he did against the Chiefs. So I'm sorry, against the Bills. So yeah, give me the under on Travis Kelce receiving yards, 61.5 under. What do you got?
So for my props, I'm going with Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rushing attempts.
Showtime Mahomes.
It's at minus 125. He's been averaging 7.5 rushing attempts in the postseason.
He's been a little bit of hero ball, and also remember the kneel downs. Those count.
Yeah.
Not that they're going to be kneeling down because they're going to lose badly.
They will be kneeling down. That's why I picked it. I'm also going with Lamar Jackson under 211.5 passing yards.
Right, because he's going to be running all over the place. It doesn't really matter.
At minus 115. He's been averaging 152 per game this postseason.
Yeah, because he ran all over the place. That's why. That's what's going to happen this week.
Yeah. But again, I think that...
All right, moving on. Next up, Lions at 49ers. 49ers minus 7 is the line. Over under, a very optimistic 51 points is the over-under. Early bets, early action coming in here. 50-50 split in the spread. 50% to the Lions, 50% to the 49ers. 58% of the bets coming in the over. And 56% of the money line bets coming in on the 49ers, locking up that sweet minus 330 action. I would hope that it's folks parlaying the money, the Ravens and 49ers money line, hoping to get maybe down to like 125, 130. But yeah, you got to make sure you lock up that minus 330. Get that money in the bank. For this one, I'm on the 49ers minus the 7. I know that they struggled to cover the big line against the Packers last week. I hate to say it, I think the Packers are a better team than the Lions are.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a horrific matchup for the Lions. I think the 49ers are going to be too physical. I think that the ground and pound offense of the 49ers is going to take the air out of the ball. There could be 6-7 minute stretches where Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown are going to be on the sidelines watching as Christian McCaffrey grinds out another first down. Also, Jared Goff on the road would scare me. I think he's good for at least 1 or 2 interceptions here. We've seen bad Jared show up on the road. I remember the game against the Bears and the Vikings where he's slinging INTs all over the place. I kind of feel like we're due for one of those games. Again, with these quarterbacks, we saw what happened to C.J. Stroud when everybody was saying, "Oh, he could be an MVP candidate." He was until he met the Ravens.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, he could be. He's the future quarterback for the Packers. Yeah, until he started throwing interceptions. I kind of feel like we're due for a similar game. I think this is a 49ers drill spot, if I'm honest. Eastern time zone coming out to West Coast. Don't like that for the Lions. And also, they've won. They've had 2 super emotional playoff wins already. I don't see them getting. I see them coming prepared for the game, but I don't. I think they're due for an emotional letdown at some point. And I think this is it. I think the 49ers are going to break them. I'll lay the 7 with the 49ers. I don't know what their team slogan is either. I know it's going to be a gold rush of touchdowns for the Niners this weekend. What say you, Mark?
I'm going with the team of destiny.
So 49ers -7 also?
No. Lions +7. Yeah, so
Do you think they can win this game outright?
Yes.
Are you going to bet the money line?
Absolutely. I'm going to parlay that with the Chiefs money line also.
All right.
2 dogs.
How'd that work last week, sir?
Look, last week was last week. This week is this week.
It's the play. It's Jared Goff on the road. Okay. Walk me through. Okay, let's walk me through this in excruciating detail. Spare no expense.
So the 49ers, you're right. I think the Packers were the better team in that matchup.
Yeah, I said the Packers are a better team than the Lions. I think they are.
Okay. I think the 49ers looked a little slow against the Packers last week. I think the Packers, might have been the better team. They seem more dynamic against the 49ers. The Lions, look, they're gonna come out. They're gonna bite off the kneecaps that they need to bite off. Christian McCaffrey's knees are gonna be torn apart at the kneecaps. You're not taking me seriously.
I'm listening. I'm hanging on. I'm literally hanging on every word.
This is only going to happen once in 100 years. The Lions are going to the Super Bowl. They're going to beat the 49ers. Yeah, the Lions, they've looked really good in the playoffs. They've really come out swinging. I don't know. There's something about this 49ers team that, and maybe it's Brock Purdy. I guess I just.
We'll get to him in a minute.
I guess I just don't see it happening for the 49ers this year. I really think that, you could call it a script if you want to call it that, but, I think the Lions wind up beating the 49ers in this game. Again, the 7 is a bit too much also.
You mean that big of a blowout?
Right, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to take it back to, the quarterback matchup, and if I'm honest, the coach matchup kind of concerns me too. We haven't seen Dan Campbell have to coach in a championship game before. We have seen
Kyle Shanahan.
I couldn't remember the Shanahan. I was about to say Mike. I know that wasn't right. Yeah, we have seen Kyle Shanahan, coach in a big game before.
Yeah.
And also, I think you also have to factor in this is a 49ers revenge spot if you think about it.
They do.
Brock Purdy, his elbow blows up. Had to come back in because they beat up Josh Johnson, and he had to hand the ball off with a bad flipper.
Yeah.
I think that matters, and I think you're going to see. I think you're definitely going to see them. Want to make up for last year, especially Brock Purdy. He spent the second half of the game with his shoulder pads off with his arm in a sling. He wants to avenge that spot. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right, props for this guy. All right, I do have a couple touchdowns that I like. Okay, first up, George Kittle, anytime touchdown plus 105. Again, you kind of saw Kate Otten get a little bit loose last week with the Buccaneers. It kind of looked the same matchup for George Kittle. I think Kittle's actually probably a bit of a more dynamic player.
We should also, we didn't know this, but should also note that Debo is a bit banged up from the last game.
Which I was about to get to that because it factored into some of my props.
Okay.
It sounds like Debo Samuel's probably not going to play. Last I heard was it's not a broken shoulder, but it sounds like the shoulder's pretty bad. Yeah, the way he went out last week, he was like, the shoulder pads were like instantly off. That's usually a really bad sign.
Yeah.
Usually they let you hang out for a bit and then they take them off. But the fact that they hurried to get his shoulder pads removed from his body so quickly kind of indicated this might be, I guess he was lucky dodging the break, but it sounds like there's something going on with that shoulder. So either way, George Kittle anytime plus 105 is the touchdown I've already bet, and it's the one I like the most. Also, 49ers defense plus 370.
Okay.
A Jared Goff interception.
You have it listed as DST, so it could be.
That's what it's listed in the books. Defense special teams.
Right, but I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but some books are kind of like screwing people over where it'll just be the D, not the special teams.
It says DST.
No, I know that, but for people who are placing that bet, you want to make sure to take the DST, not just the defense.
All right. Pro tip from Mark: make sure you have the D and the ST.
Yes.
Either way, 49ers defense plus 370. I kind of like them to get a defensive touchdown on this one.
Or special teams.
Or a special teams
touchdown.
I mean, with this Lions team, it really could be anything. What do you got for touchdowns?
I have Christian McCaffrey anytime at minus 330. Again, that might be an obvious pick, but
parlay that with George Kittle, and you might actually make a little bit of money.
Maybe, or parlay that with the Lions money line. You can make some.
You'd be losing.
Make some real money.
What else you got?
Josh Reynolds anytime at plus 400. He scored a touchdown last week.
Oh, he's not going to be scoring this week against 49ers defense, so there's nothing to worry about.
Jared Goff really seems to like him, so yeah, give me Josh Reynolds anytime plus 400. Parlay that with the Lions money line if you really want to make some money.
Why not? I'm thinking Josh Reynolds 2 touchdowns.
Why not?
Don't bet that. All right, as far as props for this one, the one I like the most, I've already bet. Brock Purdy under 274.5 passing yards. He's only gone over 275 passing yards 7 times this season, out of I guess being 19 games. So 12. He's gone to the under 12 times this year. I think this is way too beefy, especially considering Debo's going to be out. He's going to have his 2 main targets in Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, but Debo's not going to be there. And also, I don't think the 49ers are going to need to pass all that much. I think this, second half, you're going to be seeing them kind of, grind it out, running with Christian McCaffrey, running with the, with some of the back, bringing some of the backups, kind of cycling guys in, and just kind of, ground and pounding, taking the air out of the ball and packing away a championship win. So that being said, if you're going to take the under on Brock Purdy passing yards, take the over on Christian McCaffrey rushing yards, 88.5 right now. I'd consider laddering this over 100. I do think he goes over 100. Again, it's going to be volume and it's going to be opportunity. I'm not a big believer in this Lions run defense, and I think Christian McCaffrey's he's the identity on offense. He really is. So, and that piggyback off the the Debo Samuel being out. I'm going Brandon Ayuk over 5.5 receptions. Somebody's got to absorb those targets, and it's probably going to be him and Kittle are going to get the majority of the Debo Samuel targets. So. Those are the 3 that I like most. What say you?
I'm on Jared Goff over 257.5 passing yards at minus 115.
Yeah, he's going to be throwing for a lot of yards in garbage time.
He's going to be slinging it to Josh Reynolds the entire game. He's averaged 282 in the postseason, so I do like the over here. I'm also looking at David Montgomery over 43.5 rushing yards at minus 115. He's averaged 45 so far in the postseason. So I really like David Montgomery to run all over this 49ers defense for the win.
It's bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. All right. No, it should be a good weekend. Looking forward to it. Again, I don't have a dog, so we can't pick locks and you don't have a favorite. So
you could still lock up a dog.
I cannot.
You cannot.
I can't lock up a favorite as a dog.
You could.
No, you can't.
Sure, you can.
How?
Just lock it up.
Make both my games locks then. Ravens minus 3.5, 49ers minus 7. Lock them up. Lock up both.
You gonna parlay both of those?
And the money line, you might get plus odds with that.
Yeah.
Maybe you might get close to it. I mean, my guess is probably minus 130.
Yeah.
But yeah, put $5. Put pizza. Put $50 on that. Yeah, why not?
I'll
they're both going to cash, so I mean, it's easy money.
I'll lock up the Chiefs plus 3.5. Make the Lions my dog at plus 7.
This is the worst lock and dog battle we've ever had. Well, it was only 2 games, so yeah. I don't know what we're going to do for the Super Bowl.
You have to tune in next week.
2 weeks. Yeah. All right. That being said, this has been the Locks and Dogs podcast for the Conference Championship week of the NFL season. Check out locksanddogs.com for the latest in gambling picks and news. Hit that subscribe button to get notifications for the latest episodes. And please leave us a review. We'd love to see 5 stars, but we'd love to hear any feedback you have. For Locks and Dogs, this is Matt.
This is Mark.
And we'll see you next week.